Hi, we're Girlschool, and you're watching Grown by Wild.
First of all, thank you very much for agreeing the interview and being here.
There you go.
And the first question is it your first time in Italy?
No, we've been hundreds of times. We come a lot, but for long weekends, and we've done a lot of biker festivals in the last few years especially.
It's usually festivals, so we kind of in the field, in the middle of nowhere.
We don't play a lot of clubs because we're a very loud band, and it's hard to put loud in a little.
Yeah, as you'll have seen from the sound check.
And what about Rome? I know you've been here in the 80s for a TV program. It was called Dark. Do you have any memory of that?
I wasn't in the band at that time, so no, sorry.
And how does it feel to get on tour again with the band after all these years?
We're constantly gigging. We don't do long tours these days. We kind of do weekends or like a couple of weeks or festivals. So we kind of split it up so that it's more fun. We do a few days, have a few days off, a few days, a couple of weeks off. It's great like that.
Yeah, a lot of bands, they make an album, they tour for 9 months, sometimes 2 years, then they have a few years off, then they come back, and we have lots of breaks and we just spread it out. And then we don't get bored, because otherwise, when you're playing the same songs and every night, it's hard to
Unless
be
we have a
excited.
new album. When you have a new album, then you have to go out. But right now, we're just still promoting Hit and Run, revisiting, so all good.
And since you mentioned Hit and Run Revisited, how was the project born and raised?
How's what?
How was the project born and raised?
Oh, born and raised. Because it was the 35th anniversary, we decided, well, the record company actually decided, didn't they, that it would be a good idea to do this again. And we thought, yeah, why not? That would be a good idea.
I don't remember it being like that.
Actually, Craig suggested it originally.
Yeah, well, what happened is some people said they couldn't get hold of the album, and also we have problems like, well, first of all, Jackie's back in the band, and before it was Kelly, and we play a lot of songs from the first 2 albums, and we love to do new material and new albums, and we play a few from like Legacy and the one before that, but it's still the old songs that people can sing along with, and we wanted to make it fresh again, because after 30-something years, and then with Jackie replacing Kelly, it was to make it more current, but we didn't want to change it, we just wanted to keep the spirit of it, but update it a little.
It's got a really modern production, the same songs.
And what about the box with your first 4 albums, which is called The Bronze Years?
Oh, yeah. You want to say that one?
What about?
What about?
Yeah, what about how was the project born and how did you embrace it?
Well, no, what happens is that with these albums, they belong to a company. We're not with this company now, so they can decide what they release, what they don't release. But they were very nice, and we said, yeah, we're happy with this, and so it was all very nice, and so we're happy to promote this. With Hit and Run Revisited, before this it was Legacy, before this Believe, which we funded ourselves, and so on. Then it's more, these are the current albums with the company we're with, or so on.
Is there any new album coming out? Are you working on it or maybe thinking about it?
Not at the moment, because we're literally right now we're here. We're in Japan, we're in South America, we're going to Canada, so we've got a lot to do this year. So we're still promoting Revisited, believe it or not.
Yeah,
we're still doing that.
We did festivals last year, and this year we're doing more clubs and South American, Japan, maybe
countries.
Australia. But the next project will be a DVD.
Finally.
How have you decided to make the duet with Doro for Hit and Run?
Oh, that came about because we sang on her song, Celebrate, was it called?
Yeah.
Celebrate. We sang on her song, and we always wanted her to sing on a song. And when we did Legacy, we had so many guests, we didn't have enough room almost. It was almost like we had so many guests, there wasn't any girls' school. So she said, she was busy touring as well, as I remember. So she said she'd love to do something. So when we did Hit and Run, we thought it would be nice to have the title track and maybe ask Doro to sing, and she said yes. So
we play a lot in Germany as well, and when we do festivals, often Doro is at the same festival, and she's become a little bit of a friend, and we had a lovely time. Jackie and myself went and sang, was it? Yeah,
25th,
for her 25th anniversary in, where was it? Dusseldorf, I think. She did a huge concert for,
and fun.
Yeah, we sang backing vocals on with some other women singers, and it was good. So it's a nice thing.
Got a friendship with her anyway, so it's kind of that was an easy one.
How has the band reacted to all the big changes in the music business market in all these 30 years?
Yeah, we're kind of old school as well as Girlschool. This new download. I mean, we understand all the new technology and the download, but it's like it's hard sometimes. I prefer a vinyl. I still want a record. I'm that old.
Like with everything, there's positive and negative. And the positive is that before you had to have a big record company, and if you don't sell millions of records, sometimes they drop people, or they don't always sign the best bands, and the studio is very expensive, and they have a lot of power, and it's very businesslike. And with the internet, it opens up a lot of possibilities. You can talk to the fans direct on Facebook and Twitter, you can market yourself, and you can sell from your website, but it's a lot more work, and it's much harder for new bands. Well, that wasn't your question, but for new bands to get recognised, because everybody can do this. It's more egalitarian, more socialist in some ways, and more punk, more do-it-yourself. And we can be more authentic and have more input. And so now, when we work with the manager or with people, it's more like an equal relationship. Before, it's more like, these are the big people with the money.
We do as you say.
Well, we're never quite like that.
No, we were never like that, but a lot of bands have to be.
And how do you see the rock and hard and heavy scene nowadays?
I think it's still alive and kicking. It's fantastic. Especially in Germany. I mean, Europe's huge, isn't it? It's absolutely huge. I don't see any difference really. Massive festivals everywhere.
But I think most of the bands, like a lot of the old school stuff, we don't listen to very much.
Which are the bands you were most influenced by back then in the days?
We all have fairly similar tastes, but I like Alice Cooper.
Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, these were our heroes, and we all love Bowie, strangely.
Denise is like Rainbow and AC/DC.
Yeah, AC/DC is cool.
All the usual suspects, as it were.
Is there any new band that you like? And
Rammstein. Well, not new, they're not exactly new, are they?
Rammstein and Foo Fighters, that's new for us.
That's new
Nirvana,
for us.
of course.
I like
They're 20 years old, new.
You are one of few bands who are all female act. Was it like a strength or a weakness for you to get in the music market?
Both.
Both, yeah. I think a lot of times, because we're musicians, we don't even see ourselves, we don't see a gender, we're just a musician. Who cares if I'm a girl or a boy? You can't tell when you pick up a guitar that you're a girl. If you just heard a tape, you can't say that's a girl. You know, so it's irrelevant almost to me.
Well, yeah, but how people see
how
you
people
is different.
perceive you is different, yes, of course. But to us, as a person, I didn't become and say, I'm going to be a female guitarist. I just picked up a guitar to play music, you know.
When Girlschool started in '78, we'd all been playing for 3 years and gigging, and in '75 it was very difficult, and when people would laugh at us, but then we had more publicity because we were female, but it was more difficult to be taken seriously. So you have a burst of publicity, but then when we see documentaries, and they have documentaries about female music, and they have a lot of singer-songwriters, and never Girlschool, and then they have a documentary about the new wave of British heavy metal, and still we're not included because we're like female. So it's a
Cock rock.
in some ways it's much more difficult to be women. So you have the initial recognition, but then sometimes it is still harder. And also it's very difficult to assess how much a band is worth. But we played a festival a few years ago, and New York Dolls got paid 10 times more than us, and Queensryche got paid 40 times
more.
40. And of course they're bigger bands, but this is a big difference. And we fight this, but you have this with all professions, with women. Things go in a circle a little, and sometimes they're going backwards now. But there is a new lot of women that feel very strongly about this, I think. And also with the politics, things are changing again a little. Some of, like the attitude of women in the 70s. I mean, we love men, but
we fight.
But this is the
revolution up against the wall.
Has there ever been a moment when you were like, yeah, we're going big, we're becoming very big?
Yeah, all bands have, up and downs, and so even the biggest bands in the world. In the 90s, it was very difficult for all rock and metal bands. I think even Maiden weren't doing a lot at that time, because you had Nirvana and you had Metallica and thrash metal, new metal, death metal, so it was only around about 2000 that classic metal started slowly to be popular again. And interestingly, a new generation of audience. So we find that we have a lot of people in their 40s from the first time round, and it started really with MySpace. In Italy, we seem to have a lot of 18-year-old girls who say they like us and start bands.
Yeah, we once did a gig and there were 3 girl bands supporting us. It's brilliant.
Yeah,
don't get that in England very much.
Your first name was supposed to be Painted Lady,
yeah,
but then you changed it.
Yes.
Why did you change that? And what's the meaning of your name now?
Why do you prefer it, do you?
Well, Painted Lady was a band that Kim and I had, and we had different changes with the lineup. And then Kelly joined Painted Lady in '77, and when Denise joined, we felt we had the final lineup, and it was almost like a fresh start. It was just one new member, but it was a new chapter, and so it was like a new beginning, even though Girlschool came from that. And Girlschool was the B-side of a Paul McCartney single on the
Mulligan
jukebox.
Tire.
Yeah,
Mulligan Tire.
yeah. And Painted Lady was from Elton John. We have that in our
It's not on the trivia.
we have to put that in our trivia on our new website. Yeah, that Painted Lady was an Elton John song about a prostitute. We didn't know this.
You had the chance to go on tour with Motherhead in the late 70s. Is there any memory you can share with us of that tour?
I can remember that.
Not for young fans.
Next.
I think a lot of drinking and partying, but we toured with them a lot over the years. And again, in 2005, 2009, we toured with them in Britain.
And is there any opening act that opened for one of your concerts and became big?
Anvil. I suppose Anvil. Do you know Anvil? Because they did the movie Anvil. So I mean, they opened for Girlschool in 1980.
82.
82 is it?
No, sorry, 81.
81, right in the middle. But they opened for Girlschool back then, and they played with Girlschool a few times. And then they had this film about, I don't know, 3-4 years ago maybe, and it just got huge because of this film. It won awards, and then we did a sort of tour with them in Britain last year, and Germany, of course.
We were pretty big in Canada, and we went gold there. And Anvil did their first big gig supporting us. Yeah. But sometimes it's like with we had one support band, A to Z, and the drummer then joined AC/DC. So it wasn't the whole band at that time. But
not many got. So Anvil.
Is there anything you would have made different in your career?
Oh, there's probably a lot.
Yeah,
I don't know
millions.
if you could say.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Of course, there's
think
always
of-
things you could have
yeah.
done better. Always, there's always, you make mistakes. Everybody does. So. There's always things. If we'd have done this, maybe we would have been there. It's like Sliding Doors, the film. You know, maybe taken that
Yeah.
journey, you could have gone somewhere else. Made it big in America instead of staying in Britain. There's lots of different things we could have done differently in every single era of the band. So, but you just never know, do you?
I think maybe we could have been better business people.
Yes.
But-
But drugs.
Yeah, but it's possible to be both. Sort of. Yeah. Because we've always been very... We just do it. We're very 70s in our attitude. And in the 80s it became very businesslike. And
We just do the music. We didn't want to be the business people. These days, they go to school and learn music business. And I think that's quite wise if you really want to do that right, because you can get the right contracts, you can really make it work for you.
yeah.
But hey, we didn't do that. We just came up the old way, had the managers, etc.
Yeah, we try to be professional, but the business supports the music, not the other way. And with a lot of bands, you wonder.
About that, is there any advice you would give to brand new bands who wants to fit in the music business?
Well, all I say to anybody in the music business is don't do it if you want to be rich. Just do it, enjoy it, have fun, just go with it. Be yourself. That's the only thing I can say.
There was somebody called Joseph Campbell. He's an anthropologist. He's dead now, and he had an expression: "Follow your bliss," and it's or as Kim would put it, "Go for it." Do what makes you, what you feel passionate about.
Yeah.
So if you want to do it, you have to. But it's very hard now to make a living for young new bands.
So if you do the
to
business
begin.
course, probably a good thing.
After 30 years, there are so many things to ask and so many answers you can
35
give.
years.
35. Is there anything you'd like to say that I didn't ask?
No, but let's not go.
No, I think we covered.
Covered each
Yeah.
era.
Yeah, when we can talk about politics and things all.
Yeah, if you got us onto that, you'd be here all night. We'd miss the gig.
Okay, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
There you go.